Hey y'all, this is Scott, and on this edition of Learn to Market, I want to talk about how we perceive products based on their height and width. I'm going to use the water display at Whole Foods for illustration, and then I'll briefly discuss the phenomenon. Let's look at two very different packages of water. We have a tall glass bottle of water that is largely transparent aside from the label. This rectangular box of water is much shorter in stature, but is more substantial in width and depth. Both containers hold the same volume of water. Did you perceive one package to hold more water than the other? The fact that they held the same amount of water is interesting, isn't it? Why did the tall bottle of water seem to hold so much more volume than the box of water? Consider a few explanations. First, the vertical-horizontal illusion explains that people tend to focus on the height of objects more so than the width. A bisecting vertical line seems about 20% longer to us than the line it bisects, even when we know the lines are equal in length. But the water packages did not have a clear bisection, so this explanation on its own is unsatisfying. The very simple muller-lyer illusion demonstrates how adding tails to a line that angle in make us perceive the line as having shorter length compared to tails that angle out. Our boxed water was much more angular, while the glass bottle had a more continuous, upward-reaching shape with the bottleneck. The differences between the boxed and bottled water might also be explained by the amount of empty shelf space. This space is much more pronounced for the short container, so we interpret the package as holding less volume. Finally, we cannot easily perceive depth on the shelf when it is fully stocked, so even though the box container has more depth, we do not notice. As a marketer, if you were selling the boxed water, would you do anything differently? Are there any advantages to this packaging? Consumers of this water are likely focused on sustainability, so perhaps less packaging may be perceived as an advantage. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks as always for tuning in.